Hello everyone, my name is Angie Rose and welcome to my channel, Angie Rose Nomad. Welcome to the very first video of this channel, which I believe should be filmed under my Christmas tree. It is so sad that the Christmas season is coming to an end. Christmas is my favorite time of year, and I hope that you guys all had a happy holiday season. And I just want to capitalize on my Christmas tree, but there is even worse lighting where it is in the living room, so we're doing it in here. So this is the very first video on this channel. It will not be the last, and let me explain a little bit about what this channel is going to be. This is a book-related channel. I had a project that I had been working on for quite some time, and I really wanted to start it in 2019, which inspired me to make the channel, to keep me on track, and to share my progress with you all. So now that everyone is in suspense, what is this project? What's going on? Let me tell you. I have decided to read my own shelves this year, and I really wanted to stay on track with this project. It means a lot because I have so many books that I have yet to read. I have a stack of books that I have read and I want to keep in my personal library, and my TBR has outgrown it by loads and loads and loads. I currently have books in my bookshelf, in my closet, under my bed, in my dining room. They're everywhere that my books could possibly be. There are books everywhere. And I know you guys understand this problem, so don't judge, don't judge. But I recently came across a book called Howard's End is on the Landing, about how the author read from home, and I kind of got inspired by that. I've never read the book. I don't know how they worked it, but here's how I'm going to work it. So this whole year of 2019, I will be reading from my own shelves. I think I have a pretty good collection of different genres and different type of books that would keep me from being bored. However, I love going to the library. I visit it as frequently as I can, and I know that with new releases coming out and things being hyped up, I cannot stay away from the library. So my plan is to limit myself between 2 and 4 books from the library a month. I might have to cut it back eventually, but I'm not quite ready to give that up yet. I will also be placing myself on a book buying ban, but I'm going to be tricking my brain into thinking it's not an actual book buying ban. I've been on them before, and when the ban breaks, it breaks, and I go crazy and buy way too many books. So there are certain exceptions to my book buying, one being in December, where I buy a Christmas novel as well as a children's Christmas story. It's a holiday tradition that I've had for many years now, and I am going to keep that up. Another is when I find my new job, which I'm currently in the process of looking for a new job. I'm going to treat myself to a book, and possibly for my birthday, but I haven't thought that far ahead yet. So if I slip up, it's going to be okay. We're all humans. We all make mistakes. But for now, trying to lock it down, trying to keep that book buying need under control. So every month, I'm going to do a TBR, and I'm going to share what I'm going to be reading during that month. Now, this is very difficult for me because I've never been one for TBRs. I'm always just the type of person that picks up a book and says, okay. But I think that if I do a wide enough selection, I won't get burnt out on the books. Every month, I'm also going to feature 3 books, and I want you guys to tell me which of the 3 I should read in the month. Now, I'm not doing anything as crazy as unhauling the other 2. It's not going to happen yet, but it may happen further on down the road. I really, really am obsessed with Books and Lala's closet unhauls. I think they're great, but if I don't get to a book, I'm not getting rid of it quite yet. So let's jump into it, and I will show you guys the 3 books that you can choose from for the month of January 2019. The first one is The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. This is the author that wrote Practical Magic, and I believe this one is a prequel to Practical Magic. It follows Susanna Owens and her 3 children. And all I know about it is that the back says it takes us on a dreamy, unforgettable journey, both thrilling and exquisite, real and fantastic. So I've been wanting to read it for quite a while. I have only seen the movie Practical Magic. I have not read the book, but I'm curious about what I think about Alice Hoffman, so that is one of the choices. Another choice we have here is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. The sticker won't come off, you guys. I'm so sorry. It's annoying me to no end. I did not have to read this in high school. I took a lot of advanced placement English classes, and I know that the regular English classes read it, but I did not. And there is currently, or was very, very recently, a show about, based off of this book, but I haven't read it yet because I haven't watched it because I want to read the book. This book is about a firefighter, I believe, and he has to destroy most illegal of commodities, the printed book, along with the houses in which they are hidden. So kind of sounds like a moral dilemma is going to arise for this character. Need to see where it's going to go. And then the third book you guys can choose from is IQ by Joe Ide. This book was recently featured in the Jimmy Fallon Book Club. I don't know how far that book club got. I know this was one of the finalists, as well as The Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and that one actually won. I do have that. I have not read it yet, but I started it and I put it down for now. So yeah, I think this follows a guy that is trying to solve these crimes, things along that, like armchair detective maybe. We'll see. So which of the three do you think I should read? IQ, Fahrenheit 451, or The Rules of Magic? The choice is yours. Okay, so beside those three books, I have 10 books on my January TBR. And let's start with the 3 nonfiction books that I have. The first one is The Romanovs, the final chapter. This is by Robert K. Massey. So let me paint the picture a little bit for you guys. The Romanovs were a powerful dynasty in Russia. They led for many, many years. And this is the story of the last Tsar and his family and what happened to them, kind of the aftermath of that. So the last Tsar here is a guy named Nicholas, and he is married to this woman, a lady named Alexandra, and they have their 5 children: Maria, Tatiana, Olga, Anastasia, and Alexei. So what's going on with this family? It is kind of beginning to be apparent that the Romanovs live a very, very, very wealthy lifestyle. They really have no regard for the common people and how they live. Instead, they just want to do whatever they're going to do, and they do it. And a lot of people, a lot of the older generation, just see it and kind of shrug it off, say whatever, we're used to this. But then you have the younger generation that is wondering why they're putting up with this and why they've put up with it for so long, which is sparking these revolutionaries to be born. Along with that, you also have the fact that not a lot of people like Nicholas's wife, Alexandra. You see, she's foreign born, and they think that she's a prude and she looks down on them. She has no idea about how culturally refined they are and how much they just have this zest for life. So around 1905, things really come to a head on this event known as Bloody Sunday, where these people are marching to see the Tsar and get him to sign this petition for them. Now they get there, and the boys climb up into the trees to get a better view of the action. However, when the guard comes out, they decide to fire some warning shots against the crowd. And where do they fire? Straight into those trees, killing many of the children there. And then they start opening fire on the crowd. Coupled with this is that the press really got against Nicholas. And the next day, there's actually this thing in the paper that says he had a party at the Winter Palace. He didn't really care about the people, when in actuality, that wasn't true at all. But then we go to World War I, where Germany feels like Russia will side with the Serbs, and they decide to go ahead and declare war on Russia anyway. So Nicholas decides to lead from the front and is constantly away from his family, things along those lines. And then we go and get the revolutionaries really moving. They force Nicholas to abdicate the throne. He only abdicates to his brother, Michael. But come to find out that Michael did not want this throne, you guys. He was like, nope, I'm good. Go ahead, do whatever. So he's forced to abdicate, and they basically make this entire family go into an exile, if you will. They're still in Russia, but they're basically under house arrest. So one night in 1918, the Tsar and his entire family and some servants that they had in the house are ushered down into this basement where they are all executed. And everyone says that, they acted alone, but come to find out many years later that pretty much everyone knew what was going to happen. And they actually sought out more Romanovs, and I believe killed 18 out of so many that they still did have living descendants, but they tried to get as many as they could. And it turns out that Lenin was actually behind the assassination. So then we start off this book where the Romanovs have been, killed. Their bodies have been destroyed. No one knows where they are until 1979, when this grave is discovered, and eventually they do DNA testing on it, and they finally conclude that the Romanov family was in this grave. Now, the way that they got the DNA testing was from the Prince of England. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's the Queen's husband, Prince Philip. And he was a descendant of theirs, so he was able to confirm the identity of the Romanov family. A little unknown fact was that Alexandra was actually the cousin of King George V of England. And when they went into exile, they were pleading with him to let them come to England. I don't know if they were quite fearful for their lives. They knew something was going on and they wanted to get out of Russia. And the king said no, because so many people were fed up with the czars. So I wonder if the king would have said yes, how different history would have turned out. So I just thought that was interesting. One king, denying them entrance into England, and another prince of England being able to conclusively identify their remains. So I've gotten about this far into this book, and I'm really fascinated with the Romanov family. I've gotten about this far, and it's talking about, first testing the bones. And then after this, we move on to a person called Anna Anderson, who they actually believe was the Grand Duchess Anastasia for many, many years, until it was proven inaccurate. Now, there's also mentioned on the back that two of the people were found further away, and that would be the little boy Alexei, and many thought that it was Anastasia, but I think recent developments have come to light that it was actually Maria or Olga. I can't remember which, but it kind of sparked the theory that Anastasia escaped somehow and was out there, and that's where Anna Anderson came into play. So I think I've rattled on about this book long enough, but I cannot wait to read it. The next nonfiction I have is How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran. I know virtually nothing about this book except the back sounded absolutely hysterical. And I know that Emma Watson put it on her book list one time, and I was obsessed with reading her books at one point. That's why I picked this one up. And that's all I know, but I can't wait to read it. The next book I have is actually an advanced reader copy, and that is The First Conspiracy by Brad Meltzer. The subtitle says, The Secret Plot Against George Washington and the Birth of American Counterintelligence. So the year is 1776, and this guy here, George Washington, has just been named leader of the Continental Army. And that basically means that he's the head honcho, right, guys? Like, he is the boss. Now, in order to, be safe while trying to fulfill his duty to his country and the people under him, he needs to have some bodyguards, someone to watch his back, if you will. So he actually gets a group of highly trusted individuals to help him and become his bodyguards. But unbeknownst to Washington, there are some bodyguards in here that are not quite as trustworthy as he had hoped and want to throw a wrench into Washington's plan. And they are actually joined by the governor of New York, a guy named William Tryon, as well as the mayor. What is his name? David Matthews is his name. So they're trying to overthrow Washington. This is just the story about how the plan got formed and what happened, what finally thwarted this, and the birth of American counterintelligence. And this comes out in July. Let me see. Oh, excuse me, January. There's not an exact date on here, but it comes out in January this month. Now we're getting into the meat of the video, the fiction portion. And the first thing I have is actually a book that has been turned into a movie, which I have not seen, but it is The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The only other King book that I have read would be 11/22/63. I love that time frame in history, and I'm fascinated with learning more about, the Kennedy assassination. Thought that was a very, very interesting read. It could have been shorter, but hey, this one looks like it's going to be short enough, and the font is actually a decent size. So I know that this book follows a guy named Roland, and he is after a mysterious man in a cloak. And that's pretty much all I know. He's a gunslinger, and so he's charged with protecting the goodness and light of the universe. And he wants to save everything. Sounds good, and it's short enough that I can actually dip my toe further into Stephen King a little bit. So the next book that I have is The Scribe of Siena by Melody Winowar. Sorry about that name, you guys. But the reason I picked this up was because it said, like Outlander with an Italian accent. Now, I started reading Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, and I really enjoyed her writing style. I thought that the plot was moving along quite nicely, or the pacing of the book, if you will, because I really didn't get far enough to get into the plot, get into the meat and potatoes. However, I actually was in the room for an episode of the TV show Outlander and got super offended by events that happened. And I know that's how it happened back in the day, but it's just not for me. And I was talking to a friend about it, and they said, if you did not like that, put the book down right now because you will not get on. But I was very interested in the premise, and I think that this is going to fit the bill. This follows a girl, what is her name? Beatrice, and her brother has recently passed away, and he left her a house in Siena, and also his research into this Tuscan city. Now, while she's there, she notices that these paintings have this image that is her face in these paintings. Now we go back to Italy in 1347, and we follow the artist that actually painted these as well. So this sounds really, really great time travel, romance read. I can't wait to get into this one. So then we have a book that has been on my TBR the longest amount of time, and that would be Seven Wonders by Ben Mesrich. I'm almost nervous to read it at this point because it's just been sitting on my shelf for quite a while. I know that this book follows a character named Jack. Let's see. Yep. Follows a character named Jack, whose estranged twin brother has been murdered. And Jack sees this mysterious symbol at the scene of the crime. And then it also follows a woman named Sloane Costa, who comes across the same symbol. So they kind of team up and are working together and trying to figure out what this symbol means. Along the way, they also, I think they go to all different seven wonders of the world, and they discover a conspiracy to hide a roadmap to the Garden of Eden. Now, while they're doing all of this and they're going on their globe-trotting adventure, they're also being chased by assassins that look like the Amazonian women from legend. It just sounds good. I really love, travel books, like adventure, thriller, and they hop from city to city. I think they're great. And I don't know if I want to part with this one yet. I've only had it for several years, so, but I think the time is now. All right, so then we have a book that was really popular a while back, and it is called Jacoby, and this is by William Rittner. Now this follows the story of a detective named Jacoby, as well as his brand new assistant Abigail. She answers an ad for an assistant wanted, and Jacoby is trying to work on this case. You see, the people think that, or the police rather, think that they have a serial killer on their hands, I believe. But Jacoby thinks that there's something paranormal at play. So he and Abigail have to get to the bottom of what's going on. The next book that I have, and it is another book that I have the sticker problem with. Stupid Target and their stupid stickers. I will say though that if you're looking for new books that you might not have heard of and you don't really have that much time, Target has the best book selection out of a quick stop that I've ever seen. And when I say quick stop, I mean, you know, you can just duck in and duck out. Like if I'm going to a bookstore, I'm going to be there at least 30 minutes to an hour. Target is amazing. They recently did our Walmart book area, and it's terrible. Like, it used to be great, it used to be decent, and now it's just crap. And they never change the books. Like, maybe once every 2 months. It's pathetic. But anyway, the book is The Dutch Wife, and this is by Ellen Keith. So this follows the story of 3 different people. We have this woman who is in Amsterdam, and her name is Margique. Sorry. But World War II is in full swing, and Margique and her husband are actually captured by the Nazis, and they are forced into different concentration camps. Now, once she's in her concentration camp, she is given the choice. She can either, you know, work and labor and live under these brutal circumstances until she eventually dies, or she can join the camp brothel. Now, on the other side of the fence is an officer named Carl, and he's trying to live up to the glory that that his father expects of him. So it follows their 2 stories. And then we jump forward in time a little bit to the year of 1977 in Buenos Aires during the Argentine Dirty War. And we follow this guy, I don't remember his name, go figure, Luciano Wagner. And it follows his ordeal going on, you know, what's happening in that part of the world. However, reading the blurb got me really thinking that maybe we just follow 2 people. Maybe we just follow Margique and, I already forgot this guy's name. You guys, Carl. Whoops. The Nazi officer, because I know that many Nazis fled to South America, especially Argentina and Chile, things like that, once the war was over or coming to a close, and they knew they would not win. So I'm kind of have this feeling that Carl is actually Luciano and vice versa, but we'll see if I'm right. Second to last book, and it is Insanity by Cameron Jace. This says, who in the world am I? Now this is a Alice in Wonderland retelling where Alice is actually a mental patient in an asylum. Everyone thinks she's crazy. She's killed everyone in her class, so they all think she's a lunatic, except one of her professors, Professor Caterpillar. And it says on the back that Professor Caterpillar believes that, you know, he can prove her sanity by decoding Lewis Carroll's paintings, photographs, and find Wonderland's real whereabouts, where all these criminals are currently hiding, these modern day criminals. So she kind of takes on a double agent role. By day, she's this Oxford University student, and then at night, she's back in the asylum. And then she meets this boy named Jack Diamond, and he is kind of different, and he has a philosophy on life that, you know, nonsense is an actual science, so might shake her life up a little bit. Very last book for my January 2019 TBR is the book that's going to be living on my nightstand until I get done with it. So it could take me a month to read it, it could take me 4 months to read it, just however much I feel like reading at night. But that is Paris by Edward Rutherford. And it basically tells the story of the city of Paris through the eyes of multiple different characters. So we go back and forth in time. I've actually started this already, only on chapter 2. But yeah, we go back and forth through time, seeing how, you know, the city was founded and how it became what it is today. I don't know when we start. Let's see. We start... Oh goodness. We start all the way back in 1261, and the majority of the book is from the 18 and 1900s, and then we end in 1968. So very eager to see how I will get along with this. And I'm wondering if the people in this book are descendants of, you know, people that had earlier chapters. I know there's a family tree in here, but I really don't know how everyone is connected yet. Like, for example, I wonder if we follow the same family in 1261 that we do in 1968. And let me show you the family tree really quick. And it also has a map of modern Paris and old Paris. So that's kind of cool, how much it's changed and things like that. Yeah, so there is the family tree. So yeah, I'm going to be working on this one until it's done. So I will keep you guys updated on that. So that's all for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you guys will join me on this adventure in 2019. Be sure to let me know which of the 3 books that I should read down in the comments below. You can follow me on all my social media, which will be listed in the description box. And yeah, I can't wait to interact with you guys and to go on this reading adventure. And I'm hoping to make vlogs a lot. In 2019, I kind of wanted to do a video a day. That's 365 videos, you guys, so I don't want to promise the moon and under-deliver, but I know I will be putting videos out at least 2 to 3 times a week. So stay tuned to this channel. If you've liked what you've seen, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content, and don't forget to comment down below. I will see you guys next time. Bye!